All Things Motoring is owned and brought to you by CHANGECARS, South Africa's trusted online vehicle platform. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just need advice, visit changecars.co.za.
So on this show, there are a couple of themes that are recurring. The V8, classic cars, and older cars. We had the pleasure of making the introduction of Nick Bierkes, who has a magazine called SA Car Clubs magazine. Exceptional individual, he's had the magazine for 10 years. I actually reached out to him to see if we could have a collaboration. It took him about 35 seconds to say yes. As we saw in the interview, unbelievable. What did I love? You didn't have the pleasure of being there, unfortunately. You had the weekend off, or maybe you were in China, I can't remember.
Probably
or maybe
China.
you were recovering from China. Scefarenza. What do you know about a Scefarenza?
Absolutely nothing. Go ahead.
That is why I'm here. Scefarenza came out in the early 1970s, just like Michael Pashut. Incredible car. But what for me, Gugu, is amazing. There was only a couple hundred of them made in South Africa. When we went to Swartkorp's race circuit, an incredible circuit that we love, there must have been 60 there that day.
Really?
And that wasn't all of them that are still around. That was just a percentage.
Wow.
So an incredible car, sunny skies, rugby, you know the old saying, and Chevrolet. But the V8 was exceptional. Imagine a car that weighs maybe 850 to 900 kilos.
Jeez.
It's got a big burbling V8. What kind of handling have you got there? If you saw those cars around the circuit, they were getting
all over
properly
the place.
sideways. And that reminds me, we always talk about interviewing our heroes.
Yeah.
In South African motorsport, are there any legends bigger than Willie Hepburn? Willie today is in his early 80s. What an incredible, friendly, humble, welcoming gentleman. I say, Willie, can I have an interview with you? The crazy thing, Gugu, he made me feel like I was doing him a favor.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that is what I love. When we interview people, have you noticed, they absolutely love it.
They do. Let's have a look. Let me see this Chev Carenza.
He's still in training. It's Forenza, but you all knew that. Carenza C is what you take when you get flu.
Forenza Chev.
Forenza is what you take when you need some exhilaration. Let's enjoy. Today we had one of our absolute favorite venues, Swartkorp's Raceway. As always, when you come here, the weather is perfect, but there's things that are even more perfect today. 50 years of Scefarenza. When you say the name Scefarenza, possibly a lot of people won't know about it, but bright place, sunny skies and rugby, plus Chev, this is it. If I say to you, if you saw Scefarenza on the road, how many would you think are still left in South Africa? Honestly, I would have thought 1, 2, maybe 3. There's over 60 here today in immaculate condition. What a beautiful car. Produced in Port Elizabeth from the year 1970 to 1975. One of the few countries in the world that produced this beautiful machine. A lot of them today are modified. You've got the V8 racing version. They're on the track as we speak. Hearing them, seeing them, it's absolutely magnificent. So often on the show I use the word iconic when referring to cars, but you can also refer to drivers iconic. But the better word is legends. When it comes to legends, there is no bigger name, in my opinion, in South African motorsport than Willie Hepburn. Willie, it's a pleasure to speak to you. You've been racing for what, almost 10 years now?
55 years.
55 years. You see, I knew I got it wrong. I remember watching TV in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. When did you stop racing, Willie?
Last year.
I thought you were going to say to me, Mike, I haven't stopped. A racing driver never stops, even if it's in your sleep.
Yeah.
Tell us about some memorable moments in your career.
My gosh, there's so many, it'll take
I
a
love
week.
it.
But,
Give us your top 50.
well, memorable moments is when I built the Opel record
Yeah.
for the Manufacturers Challenge. and Jeff Mortimer had the Chevette, and then Sarah was there, and Ian Schechter, and I won the championship.
Amazing. And this is against all the biggest names in the sport at the time. If I ask you, your biggest competitor, and I'm sure there's many, it's not just one, but if you had to name one competitor that you could say, I wouldn't say feared, but you respected immensely, who would it be?
I would say Sarah van der Merwe. He was an awesome driver, and I've watched movies of him racing in the 24-hour of the America, and to see him outbreak Andretti, it was just too much for me.
So you talk about the 24 hours. I remember the Creepy Crawley sponsored Porsche 956 winning the 24 hours. That was a very proud moment for South Africa, still today.
Yes, I really enjoyed it, those few laps, and just a pity the car gave trouble, but we'll fix it.
It's not the first time it's given trouble, or it's not the first time you've experienced car trouble, but really I'd like to say to you, on behalf of our viewers, people like yourself, Ben Morgenroot, Sarah van der Merwe, Jeff Mortimer, Mike O'Sullivan, who's a personal friend of mine, we thank you and we salute you, and may the younger generation continue to look up to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the appreciation.
So we've been doing a lot of things here in Joburg. We've done a lot. We've had a ton of fun in the sun.
Absolutely.
And at some point you dipped and went to Durban for warmer climate.
100%. So talking about a ton of fun, one of the things for me on season 3 that has been a highlight is how much ground we've covered. Often we'll be together, we film together, I absolutely love it. But take our episode 9. Ernest was in Cape Town, you were at Red Star Raceway, and I was in Durban. Literally 3 completely different events being covered on one weekend. But Durban, I've said it many times, the amount of fan mail, the amount of support that we get from KZN is absolutely mind-boggling. KZN, I love you. But my love for you is not just because of the fans. Early May, evening.
I thought you were going to say your love for Durban is because
you come from Durban. That's why we chose them. But 7 o'clock in the evening in Durban, early May. I promise you, Gugu, I was sweating.
Yeah.
When you talk about South Africa's #1 city, in my opinion, and I will stick by this, Durban is that. Monster Jam. What do you know about Monster Jam?
Look, I don't know much about Monster Jam, but what I do know about, I used to play a game when I was a kid, Monster Trucks, and watching your episode of Monster Jam, I saw one specific car that reminded me of my childhood.
Which one was that?
Yes.
El Toro Loco.
Gravedigger.
Gravedigger.
I was like, what? I remember that, Gravedigger.
Yeah.
How was it?
So, absolutely amazing. So we're talking about names. Gravedigger, Megalodon. My favorite, El Toro Loco. Only when you see these cars in the flesh do you realize just how incredible they are.
The sheer size of them.
Absolutely. But you talk about the sheer size. After the show, we had the pleasure, everybody could do it. You walked up to the facility where they were stripping these vehicles. A half an hour after the show, these vehicles were low. They're taking off these monster wheels. They put on, you know, like those Mari biscuit type tires. They are incredible.
Mean these tires?
That's exactly it. But what for me was one of the incredible aspects was how the fans got involved at Monster Jam. You had fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, families together. You saw we interviewed youngsters from 6 years old to 12 years old to 15 years old. You want to see interaction? Go to Monster Jam. What was the highlight for me?
The highlight for you
At Monster Jam.
At Monster Jam, if it's not
Easy.
the cars.
Being there.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed Durban and you got a taste of what I go through when I go back home every time.
So when I got a taste, what did I do when I went past your old high school?
So him and I chat a lot, right? And he's asked me before, where did you go to school, high school? I told him the name of the school. He's never heard of it, right?
Correct.
And he drives past my school in Durban, my high school, and he's like, hey, George Campbell School of Technology. I'm like, how did you remember that?
Because I listen, because I care. But to George Campbell School of Technology, thank you for producing this fine student.
Thank you, and thank you.
After the break, we catch a glimpse of what else Gugu got up to in China.
There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people actually don't get to see on the show, right?
Of course.
Just like my travel to China. So they saw the Shanghai Auto Show side of it, but there's so much more that I got up to and did in China, and it was such an amazing experience.
For you, the highlight of what you ate in China, please share with us.
Well, it's not what you think. It's when I saw something I recognized.
I can imagine.
And chicken.
And the low light?
When I saw turtle.
That for me absolutely blew my mind. Gugu sends me a WhatsApp video and he says, check this out. But he doesn't start with the turtles. He started with what looked like, I think, chicken. And then
chicken heads, duck heads,
100%,
duck feet.
and then you saw turtles. The full shell with the head. That for me was just mind-boggling. And where was that? That wasn't like in some seedy back market.
No, that was in Shanghai, in a very touristy place. We were just walking around, and the nice thing about China, which you'll see just now, is that all the buildings are just lit up. It's like light works everywhere. So we walk into the shop that's very well lit and like red lights everywhere. Like, let's have a look what's going on in here. Only to discover there's like a self-serve buffet little vibe over there.
Like, how many turtles would you like? I mean, there's like get 3 turtles, pay for 2.
Yeah, something like that.
So as much as I love food, my appetite is gone, but you took mega footage.
I did.
Let's look at some of it.
Let's have a look. Alright, so we have just arrived at the GWM Valve factory where they make their cars, where they do the R&D, the research and development. We're going to see what they get up to over here. We're going to see the new models that they're creating, the stuff that's going to be coming to South Africa, and some stuff that may not be coming to SA. So let's go have a look, let's take a tour and just see what it's all about and learn something new. So between you and I, we've just arrived at one of the testing facilities, and we're going to jump into the cars with their drivers and get to actually get an in-car driving experience as a passenger, of course, but through the testing facilities of these magnificent GWM cars that we've been seeing. So let's find a car and let's go. That is a sweet wrap of the GWM Valve factory with all the products that you can look forward to. Some of them may not be coming to South Africa, but things like the Aura, which is the all-electric vehicle, and the Shanghai, which we know currently as the P Series, we will be getting in South Africa. So it's been an awesome time. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all the cars. I have thoroughly, and understanding what's really coming. The other thing to look forward to, in my opinion, is the tank. It's an SUV and it looks nearly like the Jeep, so it'll be a strong competitor to cars like that in our country. And there's still obviously more adventures on my side. I still need to go and see the Great Wall of China. This has been amazing. Catch you at the Great Wall. So we've officially reached what is, according to our guide, the highest point on the Great Wall. Nothing prepares you for the amount of stairs you have to climb. Nothing prepares you for how steep it is. But I think summiting this whole thing is absolutely worth it. The view is spectacular. It is obviously crowded, as you can see. There are a lot of people up here, but it's all about the view.
So Gugu, we've been having incredible fun putting this together in Joburg. Right. So I'm doing this not because I'm cold. No, I'm just pretending to be you. But Ernest in the mother city, it's over to you. Share with us, share with the viewers what you've had in season 3.
After the break, Ernest takes us back in time when the West Bank V8s ruled our circuits.
Although I find myself in Johannesburg driving this type R, I'm thinking back to the Skyline GTX and my time spent at Killarney Raceway in Cape Town. The car, of course, was the Henny van der Linde iconic multi-race and championship winning car belonging to Gary Blows. It blew my mind. Let it blow yours too. For many of us growing up in the 80s, racing an iconic race car was just a dream. But one man turned that dream into a reality. This is the ex-Henny van der Linde GTX Skyline, a car that absolutely dominated the competition in its heyday. And I'm about to drive it. With over 56 consecutive race wins and multiple championships, it's one of the most successful South African race cars of all time. But before I do, let's chat to the now owner, Gary Blows, about his iconic collectible race car. I'm standing with the owner of the stunning car, Gary Blows over here. And Gary, geez, this car, every Cape Townian has seen a car like this growing up. But this specific one is the one that people know, talk about. It's the Henny van der Linde Skyline.
Absolutely, yes. The original van der Linde Skyline, a West Bank icon of the 80s. We grew up watching West Bank racing, and luckily enough, we have it now in our stable.
And I mean, it's just amazing. And the fact that you've offered to you told me, do you want to come drive it one day? I was like, did he mean that? Yeah. And now years later, here we are. And it's just incredible. You've now also got the Golden Grove car. But let's start at the beginning. I grew up in Grassy Park as well, on the Cape Flats, as so did you. And there was a guy named Sharif, Rifi as the Cape Townians like to call him, that used to be involved in the races back in the day. Yes. And he had a car called the Pepsi Datsun back in the day. That car sparked so much interest for kids like me and you.
Absolutely.
And I understand that was one of the starts to your journey as well.
Yes, absolutely. So in the late 80s, I think I was in Standard 7. And I heard about this Pepsi and Indiana, and we just had to go and see it, you know. Our first evening going there, when this iconic car pulled up, everyone that was there surrounded, and of course I saw this thin little guy known as Riffy Pepsi, and they discussed what they were going to do that evening, obviously racing on the Insure. They then left, and there was a mobile gas station on the service road. They went around the corner there. There were guys taking off the wipers, I remember, and they took out the silver can. And I thought, wow, we're at the gas station and you have this magic fuel. It obviously was 102 racing fuel. And then they set off. On that particular night, I think Sharif rode 6 or 7 times down the Insure, beating all and sundry. And we were hooked. I then became friends with him. I used to work with him and help him on cars. He built the engine for my first 140Z, and it's just never stopped.
Is it really true that this car won 56 races in a row and was pretty much unstoppable back in its day?
Absolutely. As anyone can attest to that. It was a Class B car that Henny van der Linde was on the tail of the Class A cars. Willie Hepburn in that Saybat Animal, Ben Morgenroot in the RX-7, and the late Tony Viana. And Uncle Henny was right behind him in the Class B car. He was unbeatable in his class.
Yeah. I didn't know until right now that it's got dry sump technology, it's got dogleg gearbox, it's got all these little things. But in your mind, what are the 3 things that make this car so special?
This car for me is entirely special just because of the history of our history, not just for what it done, but for us as little kids. But I reckon it was way ahead of its time for what it had. Who was using a dry sump system then, you know? Who was using a Nissan Motorsport Option 1 gearbox, which most people don't even know about, you know? And I think this car is just special. There's no particular area that I can say is better than the other. It's just a well put together car, and Henny van der Linde done a phenomenal job that we can still use this car almost 30 years later, and we use it on the circuit.
I didn't even know what the gearbox was, this
Yeah.
option 1 that you speak
Yeah.
of. This is all special stuff under the bonnet of this car. But I think that's enough talking for now. Let's go out on the track. I'm gonna drive, still can't believe it. And let's see what the Henny van der Linde GTX is like out on circuit. And there we go. We're driving the Henny van der Linde GTX. Brakes are starting to squeak a little bit now, which means that they're starting to work a little bit. And now I'm starting to work the back of the car as well. Now I'm starting to feel the power kicking in, and I can start to feel that this is a powerful little that car. The car that I'm driving over here was probably driven a lot better than I just did and a lot faster by all of those that went before me. But I managed to get a taste of what that history was like. And man, it tasted good. What an incredible experience. I'm still feeling it. And I think it's going to take me some time to be able to describe exactly what this car's like. Special thanks to the team here that made this possible. And keep watching All Things Motoring. See you guys soon.
So season 3, we've spoken about it, we've done the highlights, but season 3 is old news now. Season 4 is what it's about. Season 5, I promise you, is going to happen, and I really do believe 6 and 7, but focusing on season 4. Lots in store. We've got a couple of little secrets that we can't share just yet, is that fair to say?
Yes.
But give our viewers a hint.
Look, I mean, season 1 he did by himself. Season 2 I
Lone
joined
Ranger.
him. Lone Ranger. Season 2 it was Twin Ranger.
The Lone Stranger.
And then season 3 Ernesto came along. So
Absolutely.
I don't know what's coming in season 4. I'm just, you know, I don't know.
Let's just say we've got a familiar face that will be well known to many of our viewers, and it will blow you away. Easy on the eye as well. One of the things that I'm taking great pleasure in, there's not a single week that goes by that All Things Motoring does not get an invite to an event. What I love, in the very beginning, I remember like having to phone people and saying, "Hi, my name is Michael, I've got a TV show called All Things Motoring," and say, "Oh, we haven't heard of it." Well, let me clarify that. It's just started. Now the show is well known. We've done over 35 episodes.
Wow.
The amazing thing is people are starting to reach out to us. There's not, as I said, not a week that goes by that we don't get an invite. What we want to say to you, our viewers, we've said it before. If you're on a farm, if you're in a small town, if you're in a big city, if you've got a private museum, private collection, call us. We would like to come and do an interview with you, showcase your specials. Cape Town, we've done extensively. Durban, as we said, we love the city. Joburg is where we're from.
Yeah.
Mpumalanga. So that is
We've done
4
that.
provinces. So Limpopo, Free State, this is a reach out to you.
Call us.
Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, and then there's one more province. What is that?
Wait, give me a sec.
You're going to need a bit more than a sec. Northwest Province. Those 5 provinces, we'd love to come and do something in your town. Let us know.
Call me, I'll call you, call us, whatever, I don't know.
That's it for Season 3. See you very soon for an all-new All Things Motoring Season 4.
The All Things Motoring team now has a brand new podcast. If you're looking to know more about car finance, insurance or servicing, or if you're deciding whether to keep it or change cars, you'll find all the advice you need. Available now on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Jason, ID number, bank details.
No.
Bank balance, bro. This is the end of our show. What an episode we've put together here today. Swartkorps Raceway, my phone ringing. Yeah, it was a great episode. Nick, the old saying, bigger is better. Is it true there's no substitute for cubic inches?
Absolutely.
Gugu, that's for you.
All Things Motoring is owned and brought to you by CHANGECARS, the platform buyers trust with good reason. CHANGECARS works exclusively with the best manufacturer-approved dealerships. There's no safer online vehicle platform in South Africa.